All right, good evening. We'd like to welcome everyone. Thank you for everyone who showed up on this blustery, rainy, swam to the lodge, however you got here, paddleboard, boat. But thank you for coming out. What a really nice turnout we've got for this evening's meeting. Brave the causeways, however you got here, we appreciate you being here. If everyone could please rise, remove your hats if you have them for the Pledge of Allegiance, Mike. Greg, could you lead us?
Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Thank you, Greg. Harmony, would you verify our quorum, please?
Yes, Director Bill,
Here.
Director Cook,
Here.
Director Commission, Director Doherty,
Here.
President Van Vliet,
Here.
by President quorum met.
Perfect, thank you. And if anyone has reviewed the minutes, is there a motion to approve the minutes from the January board meeting, January 2nd? I'll make a motion. Would anyone like to second the motion?
Second.
Very good. All in favor of approving the minutes? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
5 in favor, motion carried.
All right, that was easy. So let's see. Kit, you're here from the Community Patrol to give us an update? And again, we appreciate you. I know tonight in particular, it's been a little difficult for Community Patrol. We've got the North Causeway closed. We have patrols there because so that the barricades stay up. And we have, I know it's coming down the main causeway. We have one on either side directing traffic because at this point we're down to one lane and we'll see how long that holds. But thank you, Kit, for coming.
Sorry, Captain Wall can't be here. He's helping with the flood out there. Okay. So for December, we had 5 service call for speeding, 7 service call for speeding, 5 were cited. Parking at 52 call, 145 were cited. And unauthorized entry was quite high, 113, only 3 that were cited. So golf cart call service, 3 was cited. E-bike, we did make some progress, 25 was called, 3 was cited versus last month was 1. Vandalism, 4 called for service, 0 cited. Property damage, 36 called and 36 cited. Noise complaint is quite high compared to November, it's 20 and 2 was cited. Total for service call for December was 265. 32 was unable to locate for those calls. 57 guests were cited. 3 provided service citation. Member citation 93, warning citation 118, and speed trailer 94 citation. And we did a lot of moving around the speed this past December because of the recommendation. Yep. Confiscate past guests 118, and that for all kinds. For minute service at the gate assisting 118 minutes, 199 minutes at the main gate, and 19 at the east gate. That's all the report, sir.
Thank you, Kit. Hey, a couple of comments for you. I know one thing, one piece of data that kind of sticks out that we'd like to get a little more insight in. And I asked this question earlier, the unauthorized entry where we say there were 113 calls, but only 3 sites. As I understand, I want to make sure we understand what unauthorized entry means. And I think what I thought it meant was that's gate runners, but I believe it includes more than that. It includes if we ask people to turn around, if they're not authorized and turn around.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so in the future, what we'd like to do is maybe make an adjustment so that we can actually get a handle. If they turn around and leave, then we're doing our job and that's good. What we want to know is how many people don't follow the rules and run the gates. And that's what we'd like to understand in the next one.
Okay, noted.
And then also in the January report, if you could provide us the full gate statistics too for the next month as well. Appreciate that. I know you guys are busy. And we appreciate your service. Any directors, any other comments? All right, thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, so now We have a few people in the audience here. I'll say before we begin, I want to recognize there's someone in the audience besides the member of the month. So I have a surprise to this person. This is a special year and a special month. It is a leap year. And 40 years ago, this leap day, I proposed to the woman in the second row. And she said yes. And so this year we will be celebrating our 10th anniversary. Okay, so the reason I think most of you are here, in fact, I know the reason I came here was for this. We are honoring our member of the month, and I'm going to turn it over to Director Kamasian to please to give us some insight on this member and honor her for us.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to have Jeanette Williams come to the front. Please join us. Grab a towel. Grab your towel.
Great.
All right. Move it in the way. I can do it. All right. I think by the applause, I think all of you know Jeanette. We like to say a few things about her. Canyon Lake has many wonderful people that quietly contribute to our community in many ways. And we as a board want to recognize one of those members tonight that has made a large impact without any fanfare. Back in 2015 and 16, Jeanette Williams led a one-person campaign to introduce our community to the game of pickleball. I can personally recall when Jeanette introduced the game to me at Roadrunner Park after a twilight golf dinner. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. 5 minutes of bouncing the ball back and forth, and I was hooked. She also invited many friends to the courts at Tuscany Hills to experience the game firsthand. Her love of the game was infectious and it spread throughout the community. Jeanette graduated from Northern Arizona University with her master's degree and had a long career at Eastern Arizona Community College and Rio Hondo Community College in Whittier, California, where she was a teacher and coached softball. She retired in 2007 and moved to Canyon Lake full-time to care for her parents. Jeanette is also quite a competitor. She won many titles in the Women's Golf Club, 4 club championships. Yeah, and won awards for golf and pickleball in the senior games in St. George, Utah. Jeanette immersed herself in all the activities in Canyon Lake, especially golf and water skiing, and she joined many clubs and committees such as the Women's Club, the Travel Club, the Yacht Club, the Women's Golf Club, the Niners Golf Club, chair volleyball. Take a breath. Emergency Preparedness, Recreation Committee, Green Committee, and of course, the Pickleball Club. She served on the board of many of these groups and was the first president of the Pickleball Club back in July of 2016 with 115 members. Jeanette was a consummate volunteer, giving most of her spare time to improve our community. However, her largest and most impactful contribution was to introduce the game of pickleball to Canyon Lake. She worked closely with Bruce Yarborough and the board of directors back in 2016 to supply temporary equipment and access one of the tennis courts to get a sample of how the game would be received. She held many workshops for beginners, teaching over 80 community members in the first month, and was instrumental in starting the pickleball club in the first year. The game took off like crazy, and within 2 years, we had 4 new courts, and 2 more courts were just completed last year to relieve overcrowding. The game is continuing to grow, and currently the pickleball club has over 500 members. And I would venture to guess that more than 1,000 of our residents have experienced pickleball in Canyon Lake, thanks to Jeanette. As a board and as a community, we need to thank Jeanette for all her efforts for bringing pickleball to Canyon Lake. With my fingerprints all over. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeanette.
Do I get my towel back?
All right, so with that, I'm actually going to back up a step and public official comments and welcome Darcy, who was bringing us all this water today and yesterday and the day before. Welcome, Darcy.
Thank you, President Van Vliet. If I could control the weather, I could control the world. So thank you for that. Last month, we talked about all the water main breaks and sewer main breaks that Elsinore Valley had. So I'm going to talk about the recycled water main break yesterday. That was not Elsinore Valley. That was actually Eastern Municipal Water Districts, and it was on Railroad Canyon. It was a 54-inch water main. So if you've ever seen me without heels, which is almost never, I'm 60 inches tall. So that water pipe was almost as tall as I am. So you're looking at like 3,000 gallons per minute, fully pressurized. So thank goodness nobody was killed. Let's start there. They hit that line so hard, they also took out the brine line that's next to it. And that brine line takes the water that's from their desalter, Eastern's desalter, and then blends it farther down to go into the wash before it goes into the lake at Lake Elsinore in actually the wetlands. So thank goodness that's also the line that we kind of use to irrigate recycled water in the golf course when we don't have enough. So thank goodness there's time to fix it. So timing is everything, but I'm really grateful nobody was hurt. Today, I can't tell you how many requests I had to open the valves at the dam. So let's talk about that for just a minute. Canyon Lake is Railroad Canyon Reservoir. That's how the state recognizes this body of water. That's what its real name is. Canyon Lake is a community and now a city. The reservoir is operated as a reservoir, not as a lake. So those encroachment lines, when people put swimming pools in and perhaps either didn't get permission or asked for permission or pumps or patios, or in some cases, part of their house is actually on Elsinore Valley Municipal Water District property. That line was there for a reason. That's the encroachment line. That's also the flood line. So you should anticipate when we have historic rainfall like we do, that you could have potential flooding. The roads were also put in, the causeways, way after the reservoir was built. So that wasn't ever part of it in the beginning. So when people are like, open the valves. So there's a number of reasons why we don't open the valves. There's only 2 times we open the valves. 1, when the state requires us to test them to make sure they work. And 2, if the integrity of the dam at any time is in jeopardy, meaning that it's going to blow. When I came up Railroad Canyon today from Temecula to come home, if you look at San Jacinto River, which is where the dam flows into, it's almost as high as Railroad Canyon. So if we were to open the valves, we would not see an immediate reduction. Those valves aren't designed to do that. But should it come at an immense rush, you would take out Railroad Canyon Road. So I appreciate the inconvenience of the 1 lane. I'm going to date myself here. When I first moved to Canyon Lake, before Getz Road was repaired, we used to have flood parties. The North Causeway was closed, the main causeway was closed, and you couldn't get out on Getz. So some people had snow days, we had flood days, and one thing Canyon Lakers do best is they know how to have community and a good time, and I'll leave it at that. But I don't have a different answer. It's not operated to address flooding. It's not operated for convenience. It's operated to save every drop. And I remember when I was first elected, which was about 5 years ago, Art Femster asked me, begged me, Darcy, whatever you do, keep the lake full. I'm sorry Art's not here tonight, but Art, the lake is full. We actually had an update on Canyon Lake Water Treatment Plant. So we are currently going through the evaluation of construction. We're at 90% designed, and we have another team going through, is it buildable based on design? So currently, if we stick to the schedule we have now, look at fall 2027 when we would turn the plant on, roughly. That is assuming no supply chain delays, because that never happens here anymore. None of those other delays. We have anticipated some of that already and have pre-ordered some of the parts that we know we need, including some of the specific PFAS treatment appurtenances. But that's when you're looking at it. We have also made arrangements to purchase more raw water from Metropolitan to keep the lake full longer. So what I think we're going to have to do at some point is discuss how we address seawall repair and maintenance on an ongoing basis, because you're not going to see a huge drop in the lake going forward. That's for you, Art. Merry Christmas and happy birthday. Tomorrow, Dale Welchie, the mayor, and I still have coffee scheduled at 7:30. We have moved those to the first Wednesday of the month. So coffee's on us. Breakfast is at your convenience and discretion and on you to pay for. But if you have questions or concern, that's what we're there for, to answer those in more detail. Finally, on March 23rd, we have Splash into Spring. Staff has made arrangements that you can still get a tour of our regional reclamation plant, because it won't be completely torn up as we start our expansion, which is about a $250 million project. So I am happy to take any questions.
No questions. You covered it thoroughly. Thank you, Darcy.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, so do we have any member requests on comments on non-personnel issues or non-agenda items?
We have two. Our first is Renee Griffiths.
All right. Evening, Renee.
Hello, Renee Griffiths, 3778154. First to Darcy, thank you for sharing that information. Not only was it informative, but now we know we can all blame Art. And but it was very informative, so thank you for that. I wanted to take less than 3 minutes to thank Eric. Hi. The lodge is absolutely fantastic. The Lighthouse Restaurant, it is beautiful. And I know you've spent countless hours on that project. So I wanted to thank you. Steve's not here. Thanks, Steve. Lynn, for sticking with the restaurant since you're the overarching manager of that. And then certainly to Laura, who has stuck with the POA as an employee through countless challenges from members. And she has just stuck it through with a passion and a smile. And she's unbelievable. And then I also want to make sure that everyone is aware that Kelly, Eric's girlfriend, who's a designer, did not design the lighthouse first and foremost, but her touches on that makes it absolutely gorgeous. She did the same thing with the country club, all the beautiful planters that are out there. She does it on her own time. It costs us nothing for her talent and her vision. So I just wanted to thank you for keeping her around, and well done. But guys, it looks great. So I hope everyone goes out and enjoys it. That's it.
Thank you, Renee, for that. I have to say, my girlfriend Kelly, whose birthday is tomorrow, is our hardest working unpaid employee, and that's all I have to say about that.
Next is, or last is Travis Montgomery. Okay, there are no others.
Thank you, Travis. Okay, would any board members like to remove any of the items from the consent agenda? Take it as a no. Okay, is there a motion to accept
I'll make a motion.
the consent agenda? Ooh, you beat me to the punch. Okay, second.
Accept the consent agenda as
Thank
submitted.
you.
Second.
All right. All in favor of accepting the consent agenda items, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
5 in favor, motion carried.
Okay. First item on the board, on the agenda is item 8.1, approval of the fire station proceeds. Is Susan here?
Susan is not here, so I'll do it for her. A little background, the fire station located at 28730 Vacation Drive was sold to the city of Canyon Lake for $1,390,000 on December 11th, 2023. Under fiscal impact, a cash payment for $900,000 was deposited to the Canyon Lake POA from the city on December 11th, 2023 as partial payment for the property. In addition, a 5-year promissory note was issued by the city of Canyon Lake for $490,000, which the POA is carrying at 5.5%. Staff recommendation, it is recommended to the board that all proceeds from the sale of the fire station be allocated directly into the road reserve fund.
Is there a motion to accept?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Any member comments on the matter? Discussion? No member comments? Any director comments, discussion?
Just so it's perfectly clear, not only is the 900,000 going into the road fund, but also all of the payments over 5 years on the promissory note will follow into that fund. So it's all proceeds. It means all proceeds.
I'll add a couple more points too, in terms of what the intent was. There were two things. One, with the sale of a fixed asset that belonged to the whole community, what this does is this returns those same funds to asset that is owned by the whole community, which is the roads. And it was a part and parcel of the deal that we made with the city as well that potentially enables future contributions from their funds as well. So for those reasons, I think it makes a lot of sense to proceed as proposed. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
5 in favor, motion carried.
Okay, Lynn, you want to talk about the Estates Committee charter for us?
Yes, sir. The Estates Committee met on January 18th, 2024. During the meeting, the committee discussed the membership of this committee as designated in the charter. The current charter designates 7 members that shall be appointed. Unfortunately, due to the lack of quorum, frequently the committee has made a recommendation to modify that membership and reduce it down to 5 members. This would allow for a reduced quorum, allowing the committee to conduct meetings as scheduled.
Anyone like to make a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any member discussion? Any board member comments, questions, discussion? No? All right, let's put it to a vote. All in favor of accepting this change, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed?
5 in favor, motion carried.
Right. Mary, are you going to tell us about the Rules and Regulations Committee member?
The Rules Committee charter outlines that the committee is made up of 7 members plus 1 alternate. 1 vacancy has opened since the last meeting, and the committee is recommending to moving Julie White Dahlgren to regular position and reopening the alternate position.
Thank you, Mary. Would anyone like to make a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Perfect. Are there any member comments from the audience? No? Okay. Director, comments, questions? I have one. And that is, so for the alternate, will we then be accepting applications for want someone to replace the alternate as well?
That is correct. They're gonna have, so we pulled all those applications. They'll review those and then they'll make the recommendation at the next meeting.
Thank you, Mary. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? None.
Five in favor, motion carried.
Moving along, okay. Mary, you're up again and again. You get the next two. All right, lessees, tell us about that.
It was brought to staff's attention that Rule GR 3.8 does not reflect the lease term limits of 30-day minimum to a 1 year maximum. To be in accordance with the most current Canyon Lake ordinance prohibiting short-term vacation rental and Canyon Lake POA prohibition of residents' commercial use of their dwelling, it is recommended that the lease will also reflect 30-day minimum requirement.
Great, thank you, Mary. Anyone like to make a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All right, members, anyone want to talk about lessees? No, board members? No, I think this just brings us in compliance with the city one. I think it's pretty straightforward. All in favor of passing this, say aye.
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 Five in favor, motion carried.
Right. And the rules, golf course rules.
The Rules Review Committee was tasked with reviewing and recommending updates to the golf rules. The Rules Committee met with John Keegwin from the Green Committee on October 17th, 2023 to discuss the rule revisions for golf rules. The committee is recommending the Green Committee's revisions as attached. This item was tabled on January 2nd, 24 by the board for further discussion.
Great. Anyone like to make a motion?
Motion. Second.
Second, okay. Are there any member comments? If you want to make, you don't have to fill out a form. If you'd like to make a member comment, raise your hand and we can call you forward. Anyone from the audience? One, Renee, please come up.
Renee Griffiths, 3778154. My comments are the same for the most part as they were at the last meeting, that the board should focus on what's best for the members, not outside annual golf members. I listened to the meeting again, and I'll start with thank you, Bill, for several times trying to get the board to just carve that out and address it individually. So I greatly appreciate your efforts on that. It's unfortunate that that did not happen. Some of the things that came up that I found particularly interesting. So it was said that it doesn't harm the residents if our tee times are if we can make them the same time as outside members. And that's not the point about whether or not it harms them. It's about doing what's right for the members that live here. Another point was made that these outside members commit 12 months to a 12-month contract paying over $3,000 to our community, and that they should be on equal playing field. If that's how we're going to approach it, then they really should be at the top of the line or at the head of the line. They should be ahead of annual members who live here, because annual members who live here pay at least $1,000 less than they do. So if we're going to look at it from an individual basis, they should be at the top of the line. Collectively as well, while the members in total pay over $800,000 to subsidize, there's over another $700,000 that members pay just to play on the golf. These are the weekend warriors. These are the weekend golfers. The demographics, people are having to work and they come out on the weekend. So that 3 days, while there's not going to be many times where it's a big deal, it's a big deal on holidays. It's a big deal those extra 3 days when it's summertime and you want that 7 a.m. tee time. It's a big deal on 4th of July and Father's Day. So that's where it becomes a big deal. And again, the big deal is putting members first. I want to remind the board that the prior board did not punish the outside annual members at all. They have always had the 7 days. So we didn't punish them at all. We didn't drop them from 10 to 7. What we did is we simply elevated those who live in Canyon Lake who have committed to this community to being able to make that tea time in advance. And while I only play 2 times a year, and it was another comment about how much participation these outside members bring to the community, I'm in TWG. So while I'm not golfing, I'm certainly out there raking the leaves, painting things, chopping up concrete and doing whatever TWG requires is what we do. But I'm not an annual golf member. And I believe I, along with those other people who don't play golf and part of TWG, certainly contribute a lot. So to be put equal to the outside members is rather, to me, it's an insult and an insult to all members. That's it.
Thank you, Renee. Any other members? Travis, please.
Travis Montgomery, 3863-010. I'd like to speak to the same area that Renee just addressed. Make 2 comments. I support what is here as written. And one of the reasons that outside members pay more annually than resident annual members is to make up some of the difference in the fact that residents also have an annual dues assessment that is apportioned to the golf course. So if you start putting dollars to dollars, a resident who pays an annual golf fee also pays about $20 a month, I believe, as do all members of the community towards the golf course. So one of the reasons back at the time this was established was that outside members should pay more because inside members are really paying more than the annual fee. They're paying an annual assessment fee also. So I think that's a good point to make, and I fully support what you're doing. Outside members are very active with our golf course and support it a great deal in the restaurants and everything else. The second thing that just came to my mind was the very next item, guests of members. And I didn't read in detail everything else, but I don't see anything in here talking about the member being responsible for the guest and their activities. As we do with a guest who comes through the gate, you're responsible. And the second thing is it says reservations must be made by hosting members only. Does that mean you must play with them? Because that's always a question, and perhaps that should be a subpoint A, or in a subpoint B might be something like you're responsible for any actions or anything done by your guests. Thank you.
Thank you, Travis. Any other member comments?
Well, I can clarify one thing that you brought up. Guests are suggested to play with, members are suggested to play with their guests. And if that's the case, they pay normal green fee rate. If the member is not able to play or chooses not to play with their guest, and the guest is out on their own, there's a fee, an additional fee. I'm not exactly sure, but it's somewhere around, instead of the $48, it's $40 or $80 in that range. So there's a significant charge for a guest to be on the course without the member. And ultimately, the members are responsible regardless of whether they're there or not. If they're signed in under that track and lot is responsible for that guest. If you leave me your information, I'd be happy to get back to you with that. I just don't have it readily available.
Any other member comments? Rebuttal, go ahead. I'll give you one.
And when I say this, I'm I am no way suggesting that we should lower the fee that outside annual members pay. So I want to make that real clear before I say this. In fact, we could charge a lot more since there's not much competition in this area or in this area. To what you said, Travis, and I appreciate that the rate for the annual golfer who lives here, and I don't think we should change this dramatically either. The reason why it's a lot less, over $1,000 less, you were saying, is because what we contribute as a member. But on the flip side, you guys have also broken it down saying, well, members who live here only contribute $162 roughly for that. So the fact that you guys are getting $1,000 discount when you're only contributing an extra $162 as a member from the subsidy perspective doesn't make sense. And again, I'm not saying this because I feel that people who live here should pay more, but it just goes back to the point. It's not much of a difference. And that's why I feel I go back to people who live here, who are committed to the community, should be put first in line. And then I'd like to remind the board, the other thing too, is the members who live here also subsidize those outside annual members to the tune of about $500 for their membership for the golf cart rental. So there's a big commitment from the members.
Q&A? Okay, board member discussion, comments? Questions? You want to say, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd just like to kind of clear the air a little bit. Non-resident annual golf members are not the general public. I want to clear that up. People think that they're the people just walking off the street and can play golf. They can't. They commit to a 12-month contract with the POA, and the annual cost is $3,350 annually. We have about 50 of them, and it generates a little over $150,000 that goes into our general fund. It offsets the cost of our maintenance on the golf course, which, by the way, is improving each year. So it's a significant amount of money. When the new golf carts come in, and we're expecting them soon, we could even expand the program about 20%, which would improve our revenue that much more. Our non-resident annual golf members generate a large amount of revenue for the community and reduce our golf course subsidies significantly. It would be a shame if we kept them in a third position for tee time reservations when they directly offset over 15% of the current golf course subsidy. Some people want to protect the member golfers that are not annuals, while others look at the best interests of the whole community and appreciate the financial value of the non-resident annual golf members and recognize how they impact the golf course subsidy. And with that, the added incentive of a 10-day tee time is warranted. The golf professional and the Green Committee recommended this rule change and supported the value of the non-resident annual golf member to our community. So that was really important to me, to hear the golf professional whose job it is to grow the game of golf and to promote the game. And he's doing a marvelous job. Our rounds of golf have gone up significantly in the last few years, and we value his judgment tremendously, as well as the Green Committee, who has their ear to the ground with the whole golf community, and they came up with this idea as well. The rule change does not put part-time golfing members in a third position. It allows those members, the part-time golfers, residents, it allows those members and non-resident annual golfers equal advanced tee time reservation benefits for 10 days. So it's an equal status. It's not putting one above the other. And we're not trying to punish anyone. We currently don't charge more or penalize the general public at the country club restaurant. So why would we treat non-resident annual golf members like third-class citizens? So I fully support this rule change, and like to move on and get these rules approved for get this project done. Thank you.
I have a few, we've got from my standpoint, I certainly appreciate what Pat Kimball, our golf pro, does. He's outstanding, has done a lot for our golf course, and a great human and individual as well. Also, we really appreciate all the hard work that's done by our Greens Committee, right? It's composed of members from the men's, the women's, the Family Golf Club now, TWG and so forth. And again, we do have one of the finest golf courses, so I completely agree on that. Now, if I may ask a few questions.
Sure.
This is a sweeping change, a lot of changes in here. And I just have a couple of questions, and feel free to slap me if needed. Just curious, under GC 3.8, refillable sand bottles on page 95, we took out divots must be replaced, and I don't understand why we would do that. Having been a person who goes out and fills them a lot, I would think we would encourage and require divot replacement on the golf course. Just a minor point. 3.8 refillable sand bottles. We took out the line saying divots on tees and fairways must be replaced, but bunkers raked and all that. And I didn't understand why we would why wouldn't we want to have divots replaced and 95? We have different 95s?
What's the?
GC 3.8.
3.8. Oh, that.
Oh, yeah. Also known as page 44.
Pages and number different.
So I just,
3.8,
that's
okay.
one thing to
All
pay.
right.
Just a question is on that.
Uh,
Don't know why we'd strike it.
Divots on tees and fairways must be replaced, bunkers, rakes, and ball markers on greens repaired. What is your question on that?
Why did we strike it? Why wouldn't we leave
Oh.
that in?
Um,
It just says you have to carry a refillable
Let
sand
me-
bottle.
it's been a few months since we discussed this, so let me try to refresh my memory. Manager for all golfers.
I want you to know I read all these golf permits.
I don't,
That's one thing to take, like, there's another question. If you don't have an answer, that's fine. On GC.
no, it might be somewhere else in the rules. It might have been found to be in two places.
We can take a look later, but
Okay.
anyways, I just want to bring that to attention.
Okay.
The other one was GC 411 on page 97, also known as 46. 2 pages later, we talk, it says, we maintain a distance from the greens of the golf carts. We reduced it from 20
Right.
yards to 15. And my question is, again, why wouldn't you want to keep it further away for the health of the green and the apron and everything else?
It was discussed and it actually was 15 yards in one publication and it was 20 yards in another. And
You make it consistent.
with the golf professionals' suggestion, we settled on 15.
All right, now to the elephant in the room that's been debated, and that is GC 9.1 annual members. On a personal basis, I made 2 reservations on one of the busiest weeks of the year, which is between Christmas and New Year. And I made reservations 3 days in advance, not 7, not 10, not 14. And I had no problems getting a tee time before 10 a.m. So I just don't know, while we're debating this point a lot, I don't know how much of an issue it really is. But I do have a question, and that is, this rule has been in place for a year. Are we seeing members leaving? Are we seeing an issue because they are not able to book things 7 days in advance? Are people leaving, or are we seeing an impact to the golf course because people are not allowed to do it within 7 days?
I can't speak to that and well, I guess I can. There's no obvious or apparent leaving the annual membership because of the tee time reservations. I think what we're trying to do is show our appreciation to those people that commit thousands of dollars a year to our golf course and to our community and give them another incentive to stay and participate. As you mentioned, tee times aren't a big issue. When we discussed this in the Green Committee, it wasn't a big issue. It's not like we want to give someone an advantage over another group. It was just seemed like the appropriate thing to do. When we put a package together outlining the benefits of becoming an outside annual member, it's just another line item on there that shows them that they get 10-day advance notice. No, that was the purpose of that.
Thank you, Joe. Yeah, I appreciate that. Go ahead, sure.
This small section seems to be so controversial and there are so many changes in here. Can we just carve out section 9 separately? Because that's the one that everybody's worried about and we can address the other issues. Can we put that off? It's,
That would
we
require.
got this one
If
thing.
you wanted to make a subsidiary motion to accept it as written with the exception of 9.1, what we would have to do is redline it. We'd have to put it up for a 28-day reading and vote on it next month. But that, it could be, is that correct? Am I saying that correctly?
All right, what he said. I want to make a subsidiary motion to carve that out, put in another 28-day reading next month, because this is holding up everything. It's just a one-line deal. Travis has good points. Bill Medved has good points. I would like to explore these a little bit more. And there's so much other stuff in here to look at that we're holding it up for this little thing. And this right here, in my opinion, if it works, don't fix it. And right now it's okay either way. There's arguments on both sides are just as equal.
Very long subsidiary motion to accept the golf course changes with the exception of rule 9.1. We're going to.
I had a lot of coffee today.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion?
Two comments. This is over 3 days. This whole debate of holding it up is for 3 days. 30 days ago, and I believe it was Director Bill made the motion to continue this for a month because of this particular paragraph and go back and find out what the golf pros recommendation were. That continuation was carried out. You got the word tonight, what the golf pro says, what his recommendation is. So I don't see any reason for you to take it another 30 days. You're going to go back and ask the golf pro again? Are you going to try to build a better case for the 3 days? That's all I have to say.
Anyone else?
We're just turning this off. I agree. It is only about 3 days, but those 3 days make a difference to the members that live here. Some of the comments that were on my Facebook post was about members being first, and it is only 3 days. It shouldn't have much impact to the outside members because nothing changed on their end. It simply just put people who live here to the front of the line. So if it really has no impact, why change it? Number one. And I did have too much coffee, but it's not working the same way, Jeff, because I just forgot point number 2. Point number 2, thank you. I had a stall. Thank you for that. The other thing too, the outside annual members, there's a waiting list. And last time I checked, unless it's shortened from last month, it's about 100 deep. So if it's something that's going to keep an outside person for, they're going to want to quit and they want to drive to Temecula and they want to pay about $1,000 more each month, we have someone to fill that slot. We have a lot of people to fill those slots. And when we get those extra golf carts, we have people who we're still going to have a long waiting list. So thank you.
Okay. Alex.
I'm going to finally comment. I've been kind of quiet. I agree with Travis. Right now, we're just kicking the can down the road and hoping it goes away. The committee recommended it. The pro recommended it. It went to the rules committee and was reviewed again. And everybody's made recommendations on these committees. And we're talking 10 people, and half of those are golfers, at least, that recommended these new rules. I don't see a good reason for us to ignore their recommendations. This is what they feel is right for the course, and that's what I'm going to support.
Other comments?
This is tough because it's largely, in my mind, it's a fairness issue. And fairness is very subjective. Each of us has our own view of what fairness is in all likelihood. So it's a tough call. But I look back at the comments that have been made about, is this as a practical matter been an issue, a problem in the past year since it was changed? And from the information that I'm getting, the answer is no. So I've lived a lot of my life with the saying, if it's not broken, don't try and fix it. And that's how I feel about this. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, all in favor of passing subsidiary motion to accept all the changes as written except for GC 9.1, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
I hear 3 in favor, 2 against, motion carries.
Clarify the status of 3.9.
So all the rules, I understand it, all the rules in there are approved with the exception of GC 9.1. If you want to come back and redo 9.1, we'll take it as an individual measure.
I'm sorry, President Van Vliet. So because you guys have changed the one provision, it would go out for 28 days from today.
Right.
And you'd have to, so the others are not approved. It would be approved at the next month.
28-day read.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for the question.
There's nothing in place right now that would put that rule out for 28 days. We did not put that out for discussion.
Watch out for.
Hmm?
Okay, so just to clarify, we're accepting all changes except GC 9.1. And leaving 9.1 as stated, and that'll go forward for a 28-day read now, and it'll be voted on at the March meeting, correct?
Yes. All right.
28 days.
Okay.
28 days from now. That was easy. Okay. Accessory structures. Cheryl, how do you follow that?
Good evening. For the first one we have is PC 5.7 accessory structure. The committee and the staff felt it necessary to update PC 5.7 accessory structure to include special conditions. The changes due to the conditions for approval would include the track 3961 would be exempt due to their CCNRs, thatching if used to be sprayed with fire retardant spray, and then structures must be attached to cement in case of high winds, and storage containers are considered portable and do not need to meet PC 5.3 for matching roof materials or PC 5.7 for matching the colors. They must all have plastic floors. So it is recommended that the Board of Directors approve the revised rule for PC 5.7 accessory structure as attached.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
I'll second it. Member discussion? No member comments? Board members? Comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed?
5 in favor, motion carried.
All right, storage modules.
And for the last rule, PC 4.21, household and storage modules. Due to the community complaints regarding pods on the streets for a certain number of days, the committee and staff felt it necessary to revise PC 4.21. The rule needed updating for what the committee is approving for dumpsters and pods, which are modules and pods, which are currently being used as storage for homes that experience leaks, remodeling of the interiors of the property, housing furniture, and other personal items. If the pod or dumpster is parked on the street, they shall be placed parallel and adjacent to the curb, have reflectors so as to be visible from the street at night and not to block the driveway, and to be removed within 14 days from the approval. The module, after being filled, is required to be removed from the street, and when the module is returned, another permit would then be required. The current changes to the rule is in red, and the the property versus street requiring a permit, and the time allowed to remain. Dumpsters and pods, modules in the street or in the driveway will require an application for approval. Prior to this rule revision, it was only the ones that are in the street that required approval. This is being done for the department to monitor and send notification for dumpsters and pods to be removed when necessary. The fine is for $250 per month for no permit, and then is recommended the Board of Directors approve the revised rule for PC 4.21 as attached.
Cheryl, are there anyone make a motion, please?
Motion.
Second.
All right. Any member comments? Board members, any comments, questions? Yes.
The rule as proposed says that actually it's the existing rule says that the storage modules shall not block a driveway. Makes sense. Should we add, for the sake of clarity, shall not block a driveway or our mailboxes? Which common sense tells you don't put the pod in front of the mailboxes, right? But people do what people do. So that's food for thought.
Come up to the podium so the people online can hear your comments, please. The consequence of raising your hand.
So I'm sure most of you have driven down Vacation Drive or Canyon Lake Drive at night, and you've seen these pods in the street. I don't care about the pods. I care about the kids that are zipping around them when it's dark and they don't have the tail lights on their bikes or their whatever they have. I almost hit one. That's all I'm going to say.
Thank you, Bill. Yeah, they've certainly become more popular. We've seen there's been an abundance of them lately. Hence the reason I think we're proposing these changes is to get a little more control around them because they can become a safety hazard. So with that, is there one more comment? Did I miss one? No? Guess not. All in favor of approving this, say aye.
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 Are there any opposed?
5 in favor, motion carried.
All right. All right, with that, Eric, can you have a lot to be proud of, as Renee pointed out, with the lodge grand opening this past weekend, which is a tremendous success. If any of you have seen the video, online, staff did a great job and you did a great job. So thank you. Why don't you tell us about all the good things you got going on?
Thank you, Bill. And thank you, Renee, for the kind words. Thank you to everybody for coming out on a rainy night. As always, when it rains hard, all of our staff is very busy, operations and community patrol in particular. We have another mic on somewhere. Hold on. Try it again. That's better. Anyway, operations has been very busy today, and community patrol with traffic control. We always have issues with storm drains, roof drains, gutters. We find out a lot about our buildings every year when rainy season comes. So it's been a very busy day. We have Oingo Boingo concert this Saturday night. I'm pretty sure that's still sold out. We released some extra tickets that I think are gone now. A brief project update. Our lodge renovation project is 99.9% complete. As far as the members are concerned, it's complete. We had a very successful soft and grand opening last Thursday and Friday night. I'm still working with our contractor on a wide variety of punch list items. There's probably 70, 80 items on the punch list, and they're a long way from collecting their retention, and they still have quite a bit of work to do behind the scenes. Nothing very noticeable to the public, virtually unnoticeable to the public, but I have a year-long running list that's going to get completed before they get their retention. Our paving project is going well. Obviously, we have postponed our 3rd of 10 phases due to the weather. Phase 3 will now start after phase 10. And phase 4 is going to start on February 12th, and that's the Longhorn area. The question has been asked, why do we do a paving project in the middle of the winter? The answer to that is we have to wait for our bids to come in and the board to approve funding. And then once we have funding and we've selected a contractor, then we need to schedule our very large paving project around the awarded contractor's availability. We built a fantastic team yesterday. We had a very chosen contractor who was the best value and the best team member for our project. And we went to work as soon as they were available. And project's going great. We have a little delay because of weather. We had some shallow utilities we hit in phase 1 and phase 2. We're working with Charter Communications on that and moving forward. Excuse me. We also have a project upcoming this year, the Tennis Shade Project. Funding is approved for that. We gave approval to the shade structure manufacturer for engineered drawings. And now that we have that, we turn our plans into the city. The city has those drawings in plan check. Once we receive a permit from the city, we will then go back to our shade structure manufacturer and release the shade structure for manufacturing. And that will have a lot to do with our start and completion dates. So I don't have a schedule for that project, but we'll know more when we get our permit from the city. And then I also want to say, Jeanette's still here. She left. I want to say congratulations to Jeanette, also wonderful human being. Thank you for bringing pickleball to the community. I want to thank Bruce Yarborough also for bringing pickleball to the community. Bruce hired me, and first question Bruce asked me was, I have 4 or 5 months left on the board. Can you build some pickleball courts before the end of my term? And we got it done. And I also want to say that I had the pleasure to play pickleball with Bruce and Norma on our pickleball courts last Sunday. First time I've ever been on those pickleball courts other than to just look at them. And Kelly and I are still sore, so thank you for that. But we're also hooked. So thank you, Jeanette, and thank you, Bruce.
All right, board comments.
Alex. I first, if none of you guys have been in the new lodge, I think it's the other night I was in there and some friends came in and they were just looking to have one drink and relax. And I said, hey, sit on the couches and sit in the lounge area. 2 hours later, they were still sitting there chit-chatting and enjoying the moment. It was really nice. The fire's great. The atmosphere is wonderful. If you guys have noticed the upgrade, like in the past, we had a boombox the employees were putting out. Now there's music throughout the whole venue. It's a game changer, and there's no reason to run to Temecula if you want good food anymore. There are tons of good options, new options on the menu. I beg you guys to explore them, but there's a lot of great things there. And as a board member and as a community member, I'm proud to bring somebody from the outside to this, and I did it, and they were blown away. So just props to the team for putting all this together. I'm going to tell a little story about Jeanette. I didn't really talk about it earlier. Jeanette was on my rec committee. Well, I think Dale was the chair, but we were on the rec committee together when Bruce was on the board, and she was on the committee and she started talking about pickleball. And we all just looked at her. 9 of us looked at her like, what are you talking about? What is pickleball? And she convinced us as a whole committee that we need to wrap our arms around this new sport. We made a recommendation to take, a tennis court away from tennis. They already left, but there were some tennis club members that were here tonight supporting her that in 2015 were not supporting her. I guarantee this. And it was the whole tennis club was up in arms. You're taking away our tennis courts. You got to give props to the board at that time to stick to their guns. And then it was a matter of like, let's see if this works. Obviously we look back now, and Jeanette was the sole person fighting for this. She was the one out there teaching people how to play by herself anywhere she could. And she's just an remarkable person this community has. And I'm just thankful that I've met her, learned from her, and I wish she was still here because I'd give her another hug. Again, one thing, be careful. I don't think causeways are going to be getting lower, or the water's not going to go down for a while. There's a lot of water that's coming through this lake right now, probably the most I've seen in 15, 20 years. So just be prepared, plan accordingly. I know everybody's like, hey, what's the POA going to do to raise the causeways? Well, technically that probably never. But you know, just take it easy. Life is not that bad. A little detour around the lake is not going to hurt anybody. So, yeah, take a breath and relax. It'll be all okay, because next week it'll be just back to normal. I mean, if Bill drove all the way around from the north side today to come to this meeting, it's not that bad. Darcy too. I think Darcy lives on that side as well. So, you know, it's not that bad. And I used to live on that side as well. It's a little inconvenience for a short period of time, but the water's more important to our whole infrastructure and to everything. So just take a deep breath and relax. Thanks for coming, you guys.
Thanks, Alex. Greg?
Yeah, I want to give a little bit different perspective on what Alex said about the new lodge facility. I was here both Thursday and Friday night for dinner, and right in the middle of it all, on Thursday night, a friend of mine came up to me who's lived here for 30 years. And she said to me, Greg, this is unbelievable. This is how it used to be in the old days. You know, we all know about the old days, right? She says, in the old days, this used to be a place where people came and met their friends for the evening and had a meal and had a drink or two. And it would, you know, be like that week after week after week. Now, if we've only had a couple of nights we've been open, but if we've accomplished that feeling with this new facility, it's absolutely priceless. And I, for one, certainly hope that's the case. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Jeff?
Well, I don't want to go on too long, so I'm just going to echo the sentiments from Alex and Greg. Also want to let everybody know that we have been working on security with the contract, reviewing that. And today, the patrol manager position was posted, which will have, we're looking to bring somebody in to work with the POA staff as they work with the security company, kind of that liaison, someone with some experience in that background. So that ad went out today, so hopefully we'll see something soon. And to the subject of the causeway flooding, I don't know about you guys, there's nowhere I'm dying to be. You can wait a day, you know, it's a little bit of water, spend the time with your kids. It's gonna be okay. So thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Joe?
Well, everybody's talked about it, and I got to mention it myself. The lodge looks beautiful, both inside, outside, everything. Kudos to Eric and his staff for the vision and the planning and the effort. And this has not been a one-year project like we all know it. It's been a very long, multiple-year project from the planning stages. It's truly a labor of love, and I'm sure for Eric especially. Thank you. Also, I want to thank Jeanette again for her contribution and the impact she had on so many of us in the game of pickleball. I just can't say enough, and it's just incredible how her love of a sport just kind of got to all of us. And I love the game. It's I can honestly say it's changed my life. I'm playing more pickleball than I am golf. So don't tell the guys at the club. I'm liaison to 3 other committees. TWG, they had their board meeting in the month of January. They had 319 man hours. Next Monday, weather permitting, they're having a sand divot party, 7:30. If you're interested in coming out, show up at 7:30 at the clubhouse, and there'll be coffee and donuts waiting for you. And you can go out and help everybody put sand down in the divots. That would be great. It's a fun event. Senior Center is having their potluck. I think the date was the 25th of this month. They're talking about a meet the candidates event. We have an election year coming up every year. So keep your eye out for the dates and the postings on that. And I can tell you the Christmas and the New Year's party were well attended and a large success. So they do a great job with that. Green Committee is working on a long-range tree plan. And this is for tree removal and tree replacement. So this is a endeavor that they started a few years ago. It kind of went in limbo, and the new manager is, our chairman is reactivating it, and we will be looking seriously at a tree program for the golf course. As you know, this rain affect all of us, especially the golf course. So we have to respect that. And I think that they canceled the Wednesday game, men's game, or the ladies game today and the men's game tomorrow. So it's quite an impact. And so when we do go back to playing, it'll be probably cart path only for a while. So we just have to be patient and respect that. With that, that's my comments. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate that. And those who came and supported Jeanette, I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate, I want to thank the staff again for lots happened. It's been busy November, December, January, and a lot going on. And I appreciate all the hard work that staff, which if for those of you who aren't familiar, don't work with the staff as frequently as we do, you know, we're very blessed and fortunate to have such a great team here. And so thank you all for that. Also want to thank my fellow directors here. You know, as you get into it, we're now well into a year working together, and what I've learned and appreciate from everyone is that everyone brings a little bit different perspective and focus. And I think kind of together we've been able to cover all aspects of the community. And so I respect your talents and thank you all for your volunteering time. I'd like to bring everyone's attention to some upcoming events. On February 20th, we will be holding a workshop for the budgets. And the Finance Committee will be presenting with our controller. And that, if you never go to any meeting here, if you find POA meetings boring or whatever, do not miss that one. I urge everyone, come on out. If you want to know what drives our budgets, what our dues going to do next year and all that, come to the meeting and please give us your feedback. It is the one meeting of the year where we can actually have a dialogue with people. And so I encourage everyone, February 20th, this same place, 6 o'clock on that Tuesday. Will also be a club presidents meeting. Lynn is going to be scheduling that with with presidents of all of our clubs to let them know what's going on and have a dialogue and exchange. That'll happen on February 28th. The Canyon Lake Association of Men are having a Valentine's dinner on Valentine's Day. Imagine that. And I think today or tomorrow is the last day you can get in. So if anyone hasn't, it's a nice evening celebration there. Also, a good charitable group we have in the organization is the Canyon Lake Environmental and Activities group. That's for Canyon Lake junior lifeguards and things like that. They have a fundraiser going on. It'll be on it's 25th, I think. 24th. Thank you. Appreciate that. Encourage everyone. It's a $100 ticket. It's a donation. It'd be a fun event. There's going to be entertainment. There's going to be good food. There's going to be gaming. It's going to be dancing. And I strongly encourage everyone to please come and attend. If for some reason you have a conflict in that date, they also accept donations. It's again, a good charitable event that goes right back into our community. And encourage you all to attend. And then the March board meeting will be as riveting as this one was. But will be the two primary topics of interest there will be we will be finalizing and approving the budget. So what impacts that will have on all the members. And we will probably our plan is to hopefully have a decision on the community patrol contract at that point. So that's what's coming up. With that, I think we have a couple of appeals. I'm going to ask for a 10-minute recess. Call the meeting back to order. If you're here for appeals, please stay. If you're not, please excuse yourselves to the side room. All right, let's, Cheryl, let's begin with the first appeal, please.
Okay, so for our first appeal, I'm sorry, is going to be Aaron Loft appealing the ACC denial for enclosed storage area below the 1397.5, a CCNR violation. Member Aaron Loft submitted an application to enclose a storage area under the house. The committee rejected the application in November of 23. The area below the 1397 MSL and cannot be made habitable. Windows are not allowed in a storage area, which is a CCNR violation. The rules descriptions are below. It was requested by staff that Mr. Loft meet with the committee to explain the committee does not have the authority to approve the storage enclosure the way that it was submitted. The windows are not allowed in the storage area, and the committee believes that this would be used as habitable areas in the future. Mr. Loft claimed that he was not below the 1397 and therefore could be approved. He had also explained to the committee at the property that he already purchased the windows and the slider. The committee met for the last time on December 21st of 23 and denied Mr. Loft's appeal. Stamped signed survey is required to indicate the 1397.5. Resubmit when completed. Mr. Loft explained to the staff that he had a surveyed plan. To date, we have not received the plan. So is Mr. Loft here tonight? You can go ahead and come up. So I do want to also point out that the committee did go to the property and they did take some measurements from the back of the curb to the front of the house, which establishes the distance of the community and the front yard setback. Then the length of the house and the rear setback by using the original plot plan of the home in order to determine the property lines. The enclosed area does not appear to be in the rear setback, but the top of the surveyed curb is listed at 1399.2. The floor elevation is listed at 1399. The CCNR basically states that the lowest elevation for habitable floors is 1397.5. So Mr. Loft, you want to go ahead and state your appeals?
Can you press the red button, please?
Now it's red. Does that work now? Okay. Yeah, as I said, the problem was the 1397. So, and I used my, I used 3 different apps that said that it was 13, it was outside of that. But you said, I was told that the apps are not precise enough, so I needed to do a survey. So I paid and had a survey done. And the survey came back and it was not in my favor. Came back at 1392 instead of 1397. So it's 5 feet off. So that's where it's at. But at that point, I went down and met with the water department because I'm trying to figure out why it needs to be 1397. And the water department said that they would give me a variance. So I got a written approval from them that says that 1397 isn't a problem. So that's where I'm at right now.
And this has nothing to do with the water department. It has everything to do with our CCNRs.
The 1397 went to 4th.
But 1397 is not EVMWD property. That's your property.
I don't understand.
Okay, so the CCNRs basically state that the lowest habitable floor can be 1397.5. It cannot be below that. You stated that you have if you have a survey, what I would suggest is that you come back to the committee and show the survey, what you have, and then resubmit everything.
Okay, I went to do that yesterday, but I missed it. I guess I missed it. But, so Andre, I think, told me to come to this meeting.
You turned in a survey yesterday?
Pardon me?
Is that you turned in a survey yesterday, sir?
No, I went to do it, but they told me to come to this meeting instead. Yeah. Yeah, I was at the POA yesterday, about 4:50.
Any board questions, comments, discussion?
Yeah, I'm not clear. Did you get a survey on your property?
Yes, sir.
And you have the report?
Yeah.
Have they seen it?
No,
Okay.
as I said, it wasn't in my favor, so I didn't rush to go get it to them, but
Did it show that your elevation of your deck area is at the correct level?
no, shows that it's 5 feet off.
5 feet off? And so your purpose here is to ask us to overrule that?
To ask for variance. And
The
because
variance.
Because I believed it was the water department that was the issue. So I went to the water department and asked them for variance and they gave it to me, but evidently that's not what the issue is. So I need to find out a little more information.
As I understand, the water department does not have jurisdiction over our CCNRs, so.
No,
CCNRs
once
are
it's
the-
his property, it's not on EVM WD property. And if he's in truth 5 feet off, 5 feet's 5 feet. We need 1397.5. Man, we can't wiggle on it.
Mr. Loft, I have a question. Did you get a city permit for all this and then that's all taken care of?
The city, I'm good with the city.
Okay, because I just know that, the construction started on this quite a long while ago. It
Yeah.
doesn't match these dates, so
Yeah.
I was just curious.
This is for the 1397 habitable floor. The rest of the permit, which he does have, even through us in the city, has been satisfied.
To be clear, if it was storage, it would not be a problem, but with sliding glass doors and windows, we deemed it to be habitable and therefore the 5 feet makes a really big difference. If it's storage, no.
Any other board, any other comments or questions? Do we have a motion?
You understand that what you're asking for is for us to go against the CCNRs, which is the absolute highest level of documentation that we have in our community that guides our decisions. And
Well, yeah, I understand that, Joe. And
And-
the reason I felt that we didn't have a problem, see, it's a long story. I don't really want to bore all of you with it, but this started with a very small intention of a small storage unit. But I dug too far, I guess, and so the city came in and told me that I had to build a retaining wall. So to dig it out, we'd build a retaining wall. When we did that, because my neighbors' houses are very close to my property line and we had dug back too far. Now, we were concerned about the neighbors, some slide there, so we put, the walls go up on the sides and the back. So I put a deck over it because my deck was already halfway over it. So now it's there, the structure's there. So at that point, I requested that I could get a front wall put on it. Because if it's a storage area, it's not doing me any good right now, like everything in there is soaked right as we speak. So I need to put a front wall in it. So I understand that I needed a variance to get even the stucco wall across the front. But before I did that, I asked my neighbors I showed them pictures of what around our bay. And 4 of my neighbors are much closer to the water than I am. So I felt that, I guess their properties are illegal, what I've been told now, but I have other neighbors that are much closer and lower to the water than my house, or this addition. So that's why I felt like that I could possibly get a variance, but anyway, so at this point, the wall isn't built, but it's gonna be a big wall and it's gonna look like hell if it's all stucco, real honestly. That street is not, it's a lot nicer than that. It shouldn't be like that. So I suggested that we put windows in it. And then I guess we decided that would make it habitable. I don't know, it doesn't have any plumbing or power to it, but maybe what I need to be doing is making it habitable. Maybe, I don't know. I just need to do something with it. It looks like hell.
okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? No? Anyone like to make a motion?
Well, I'll make a motion to deny the claim, the request for variance.
So in other words, to uphold the ACC's recommendation? Okay,
Yes.
second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Five in favor, motion carried.
I think our next step is to get back with bring your survey to ACC and they can help you come up with a recommendation on how to move forward, Mr. Loft.
Okay. Understand. Thank you. Oh, it's okay. I just gotta do something with it. It's not, but we'll work it out, I'm sure. Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Okay, so for our second appeal and our final appeal, it's member Barbara Gamble is appealing the ACC denial for dock, ramp, canopy, platform, and existing lift, which is also shared with lot 101. Barbara Gamble for lot 102 submitted an application for the dock plan. Okay, thank you very much. So let me get back to where I was here. Ms. Gamble for lot 102 submitted an application and plan for dock modifications to remove the shared dock and submit for a single dock, remove canopy, platform, and use her existing lift with a notarized signature that she would no longer share with lot 101. Lot 101 is the secondary lot that is shared with lot 102 and is allegedly willing to remove himself from the shared dock and no longer have access to the lake with the current dock design. Lot 101 is currently sharing the dock by a side tying to the lot 102's dock. Ms. Gamble submitted an agreement that was signed and notarized with signatures. It is the committee denied the application because it would eliminate the ability to have an L added or a single dock for lot 101. The committee is not against the single dock as long as a plan for lot 100 through 102 is submitted with showing enough space to allow for all three properties with shoreline access the ability to put in a dock. Lot 101 does not want a dock at this time. However, it is the committee's responsibility to ensure dock future placement for all properties with lakeside access as per PC 2.8. The last meeting with Ms. Gamble was an appeal to the committee's decision. Ms. Gamble stated that the dock extension for lot 101 is not going to be built at this time, for the owner of lot 101. And lot 101 will pay for the extension to be built at a later date and has no wish to build at this time. She wanted to know why this would hold her up with the dock plan. After the meeting with Ms. Campbell, the committee felt that their decision was not going to change. In order to move forward, they would need a plan for all three properties with dock placement and access. So I'm going to go ahead and let Dave explain real quick the purpose of the reason why the committee believes that there is not enough room. If we can go to the proposed plan, that would be great, which is sheet 2.
Okay, a couple of little problems that give us pause. Number one, you'll see where it says 13.3 feet in between the two docks, which means in between 102 and 100. If we were to put an L connected to 102, we would need 10 feet for a slip and 3 feet at the least to have for a finger. That's one problem. So that's 13 feet and we got 13 feet 3 inches. Now, if you look at 1372, I'm stuck with 1397. If you look at 1372, the line going across all those docks, number 100 is barely touching and really needs to be moved a little bit further out. And if we were to put an L or 101, it would be way too shallow and it has to move down, which further makes a bigger problem for the distance between 101 and 100, if that makes sense. I'll take questions if I went too fast. I've been staring at this for a long time, so.
If we can go to the next, it's the overview that kind of shows a better picture of what this is, and this has been taken very recent.
Okay. We don't want to go any further toward the shore than 1372. Otherwise, if they have a lift, a hydro lift, they're going to hit the bottom as soon as the lake, whenever.
Is it possible to move 100 further to the east? To the right?
Yes. Yes. So we need room for the finger. We're not against the dock, but we are against not leaving room to put the finger in at a later date and then having to shake up the whole cove. So we need plans showing how the finger will connect and moving. Is that 100? Let me go back to that. Yeah, moving 100 to give 101 room to get in there with a finger eventually. So we're kind of looking to the future. I know it's aggravating, but that's what we do.
So question. From what I'm seeing and hearing, everything hinges on the position of dock lot number 100. If that could move, I guess that's north.
Yeah.
If that could move
100
north 5 feet or so, that would open up enough room. 3 feet.
Approximately 3 feet.
That would open up enough room.
101, if we move it further out to clear 1372 for the finger, it's going to make it a bigger problem. If you do the angles in your head.
I see that, but that L shape doesn't have to be at the header. It could be back. Could it not? I mean, you could have.
Make me understand what you just said.
You could have a U dock. Instead of coming off with an L right here, you could come off with the L
Yes, but it needs to be
further away from the shoreline. Just, yeah, her dock could stay where it is, but the L dock could be attached.
If 100 stays where it is,
Mhm.
that would include the possibility of the L dock for 100 being feasible.
101. Her dock is 102.
So if I can just take a minute to kind of summarize, what we have is a dock plan for her that is okay. But we need on that a dotted line to show where the L will be placed, and the corner, the right corner of the L has to be set at 1372. With that is usually drawn in with dotted lines on the surveyed plan. Right.
Yeah.
And then it will interfere with dock number 100. So we need a plan in dotted lines only. This is just a plan in dotted lines that will show where 100 is going to be moved. 100 needs to be moved to the right, the dock. The ramp can stay where it is, but there would have to be a wedge put in and an extension in the future. Now, how that is accomplished will be in the future when 101 wants to put in a dock. But right now, that member doesn't want to do that. And so what we need is just a plan, is all we need of where these things will go. There will be no extra cost to the member at this time for those putting anything in or moving 100, or it just needs to be put on the plan. That's all we ask. Yeah, so we want a future representation of what it's going to look like. So, yes.
On the PDF page number 104, under the committee results, the bottom of that, it shows a lot of things denied by the EBMWD. And that has to do with the plans and the spacing and all that. Has that been resolved or is that still an issue?
Yes, we do have consent from EBMWD.
Okay, I just wanted to make
It
sure.
took a few attempts to be able to get it. So really, just to add to what John and Dave were saying, what the committee is requesting is for a plan. It does not necessarily have to be surveyed, but it would be better. And then we would then call in all three lot owners once again, this, to make sure that they agree upon this plan. If we were to approve it as is, the committee is actually approving it and then not allowing for room for lot 102 to have a dock, or no, 101 to have a dock. That's what our concern is.
So with the proper submitted drawing and consent from the other two homeowners, she could go ahead and build her dock.
That's what we're looking for, yes.
Okay, so she,
The dock itself, the plan itself is fine.
okay,
We just need to have an assurance that there's going to be room
right,
for the next lot.
right. And that's consent from the two property owners. Just, okay, through a cove meeting. Okay. Bobby, can you come up? We can talk to you? Sure.
Hello. We actually have those plans that you were talking about. They should have been submitted before to the POA with this lot, with the dock halfway through the side, the dotted line, and with that dock in the original orientation. So we pretty much have everything that you guys need. This is an old plan, but we can update this if that's what you guys are saying that you need. Yeah, we've showed that to them at the architectural committee meetings multiple times.
It would have to actually be submitted to us so that we can take a look at it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we've been to the POA and they've printed this up for us at the POA office too. See how that's what he was saying with it, instead of being at the head halfway down, and then we got the dotted line, that would be the future add-on, and that would be the orientation. She moved her dock that way.
I don't know if this is see, this is put on the original plan for the original.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I
so we
would,
can
I
just
would
update
say to the
this
board
with the new
that
dimensions
anything that is
and
being
then-
submitted tonight is not something that we could look at. It has to be sent back to the committee.
And it have to show this thing.
Okay, so in other words, we just need to make the plans that show the future.
Yes.
We don't need to actually need to make her move her dock at the time being. Gotcha.
Could I be?
Well, see how they have this in dotted lines? We need that on the original survey.
So the survey that we've submitted, this is the old survey from when they redid the dock originally, so we need to make an updated survey with these dimensions to match those with that, with this. And
This is not the original?
This is the original, but it doesn't matter to the water company. They will not accept it.
yeah, we need an updated one with the new dimensions of the new dock. Gotcha.
And so we'll have to have a code meeting with yourself and your neighbor, two neighbors.
We did this already.
Yeah, but with us at the POA.
And does she need to be, does the owner of lot 100 need to be there? Because this is her vacation home. She's only there a couple days out of the year.
Well, she has an option of not.
Okay,
having,
so if she
we'll
decides,
Make a decision without.
okay.
Well, I would like to say something.
Yes, okay.
Do you want to?
Go ahead and speak.
You could get a notary, John, for that person, and we need that on a change to application.
We do. We have a plan.
I can't hear what's going on over there,
Yeah,
so.
I'm sorry. We have a plan that's drawn on the original form for the original doc.
Okay, then we'll have to put it to the whole committee, okay? Thank you,
said
John.
You need something notarized? Is that what you said?
No.
When we originally moved in, her dock was faced this way, not this way. She took it upon herself, 100, took it upon herself to change her dock. And she said on our last or only Zoom that we did have, that she would change her dock if asked. But she's not going to do anything until she's asked to move the dock. I mean, she's been, complying with everything. But I know my dock's supposed to be going this way. Everybody's going this way, but she goes around like this and came in. I thought, well, what a weird thing to do, but that's the way it was originally planned. And she's okay with putting it back that way. So that seems the simplest way to do it, is just have her put her dock back where it's supposed to be. And then we can, if my neighbor, if 100 wants to build on it sometime, which he says he never will, which I don't think he will, he'll have room to build on the L.
But you guys don't need that, you just need the plan submitted, show.
Okay,
Okay,
see, we would
Jeremy.
need that plan and we would need to have a code meeting. So if you can come to the department and submit that as a revision, then that would be great. Then we can go ahead and set up a meeting for you guys.
Okay, did you hear all that?
I have a few more
My
questions.
hearing is not that good. I have hearing aids in here, but boy, you guys are just.
Just take that plan to planning compliance
He can
and they'll help
repeat-
you.
He can repeat to me. We need to know. So, Are we okay with
I have a
that?
few more questions.
Okay.
So if for some reason that this plan gets denied again, is the current dock that I have grandfathered in? If I wanted to build a brand new dock exactly the way it is, for some reason, if this gets denied and I needed to, build the exact same dock, not put the L and not have her move her dock and not do anything, am I grandfathered in to build the exact same dimensions?
Well, we don't use the word grandfathered, but that's something that we can discuss at the code meeting.
Okay. Thank you.
We have a whole committee that we have to vet things through and we're just a couple of people up here today.
Gotcha.
I want to stress the importance of the Cove meeting and the agreement of all three parties.
Yes, we are all three in agreement. We even have a notarized paper that we've all
Okay.
gotten together, all the neighbors have notarized this paper. We're all in the same agreement. It's just-
Everything hinges on the agreement. there.
Yeah, all three of us are all on the same page between the neighbors. It's,
Great.
getting through these hoops is the thing.
Okay. Thank you.
Where do we go from here now?
We gotta submit this plan to the planning and compliance.
Come back here. Just submit that plan to planning and compliance. And go
Gotcha.
from there. I think
Thank
we're
you.
set for tonight then. We're gonna uphold the recommendation. No action. Thank you. With that, is there a motion to adjourn from the board?
So moved.
Move second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Be safe when driving home. Thank you all.